So I recently decided that I'm gonna put ADT alarm systems in all our properties. We have over 200 single families mostly. That happened after probably crackhead stole copper from one of the properties. They basically kicked the door in, cut the wires, cut the copper. So at that point I was like, this has to stop. So the way to do it in my mind right now is basically we buy equipment up front. Otherwise, if you finance over 60 months, they charge you like double or triple, whatever. So we're putting about $430 worth of equipment, and that includes motion sensor detectors and doors and windows. But the main thing that I'm doing is keyless entry deadbolt. So that one I can control remotely. I can put in pin codes that I can give to the prospects who want to see it, different code for my contractors, and then once the tenant is approved and moves in, I put one for them, and then if they move out, I delete it. So I have a lot of control over that lock set, and that's what really makes it worthwhile. So volume, because of the volume, we get about $40 to $42 monthly subscriptions, and we charge the tenant $60. So basically the equipment pays back in about 2.5 years, and then it's ours to keep in the property. So I don't really make an option where they can opt out unless I really want that prospect to become a tenant. Then I will go through the hoops and move it to the next property. But ADT typically doesn't like that because it's extra work, whatever. So when I had Vivint, they would charge for technicians' time. We'll go and move from one property to the other. They didn't care. ADT, for whatever reason, really not in the position to move those from one property to the other. So anyway, this is the idea, to have all the keyless entry, because between the contractors, my property manager, tenants, like no one knows where the keys are at. Prospects take keys from the lock boxes when they go to see it. Even lock boxes get taken away from the doors. No one knows where it went. So I was like, enough is enough, and that's why I'm switching to ADT keyless entry, and all the arming, disarming. I can see the log when someone was in the property, and it's just peace of mind. You check that the properties are locked, armed, no one is moving there after the midnight. I think it's totally worth it. Also, it's gonna become really handy in the situations when tenant, let's say, is in eviction, it's no longer communicating with you, maybe even after the court. You don't know if someone is still there, especially if it's like winter months and the pipes might freeze or whatever. You can check your app and see if someone is inside, someone moving, etc. And as soon as you know that the tenant is out, you just change that code and they no longer have access to it. So we used to ask for keys, then send someone to rekey it, and as I said, between the contractors and then prospects coming to see the properties, keys would be lost. Even before COVID, we were never meeting to show the properties. So prospects would text us answers to the pre-qualifying questions and then picture of their ID, and we would give them the logbox code. But this is way better approach. One thing I learned, because they only have deadbolts, you want to disable the doorknob that swivel that locks and unlocks. You just basically take flathead screw or pliers and just rip it out, and that way someone doesn't lock themselves out when they walking out the door. They have to lock the deadbolt. So that's something that I started doing. Another thing that was stupid, which I learned later, is to call 1-800 number. So with 1-800 number, they put me on a 60-month plan. The local ADT guy that I got for St. Louis area, he basically is able to text back, and then he has his 1 or 2 designated technicians who just work on our properties, which is way better than calling 1-800 number. I was waiting on average, not just waiting, but spending on average an hour just to talk to someone at ADT and try to get issues resolved. It would be impossible to install 25 systems just by dealing with someone at ADT 1-800 number. It's time-wise, it would be impossible. So I'll talk to Ryan if he can service other areas. I'll post his phone number in the description. You can text him. What I was doing, I was texting my property manager, him, and my business partner, so everyone is on the same page. And you know, we have different LLCs, so we just basically give him order where we need a new lock set, give him checking account and routing number, tell under which LLC it's going under. He sends the DocuSign, we confirm, sign it, we have a contract, and he was able to give us 36 months instead of 60 months. Okay, so after 36, if we don't want it, we out of contract. So I think having that short term and paying for equipment up front instead of breaking it down over 60 months, I think it's the way to go. Now what we did, I asked my manager to put all of them under one login. So there is a way to link all of them, and as far as the tenant goes, you create a PIN for them, either the last 4 of their phone number or whatever they decide. So you give a PIN through the app, and then most of them also want to have their own account, their own ADT app access. So there is a way to give that, so they can also lock and unlock remotely, arm, disarm, and that way they feel like they have full access of the house. So when you go to the settings, there are certain parameters that you don't want them to give full control, but as far as arming, disarming, seeing the log of events, all that is good to go to give it to them. So hopefully that helps. I've been in real estate rentals for over 11 years, retired after 3 years, so just I'll be sharing my experience, and if you like the video, please hit like and subscribe, maybe share if you have whom to share. So that's what I'm planning to be posting on. Thanks for watching.